Hey, nonprofit visionaries. It's Shalita, the nonprofitista O'Neill. I promised you, my YouTube family, that I was going to come and show y'all love once a week, every Thursday at 1 p.m. I have my own little topic in mind just in case y'all too busy to talk to me. And that's okay too, because y'all got to get used to me hopping over here every week. So I wanted to talk a little bit about diversifying your nonprofit income. A lot of you have questions about the money with the organization. How do I bring the money in? You might, be a new organization or you might have been around for a while. So I want y'all to I know sometimes a lot of my topics are geared towards newer nonprofit organizations and nonprofit founders, but that's not the only population, the only audience that can benefit from the information that I share. So, um, you know, I'll give y'all a minute or so to just come check on me. Come see about me now. You said you want me to come over here. I hope y'all are also members of the Nonprofit Visionary Academy on Facebook. So you can just I'll put the link in the description below too, so that you can also be a part of there because there's some videos I do there that I don't do here, and vice versa. So I told them to come on over here to YouTube as well to get some good information. What y'all doing out there? Come on, where you at? Yeah, I'm still getting used to things over here, but I really like YouTube. I like it over here. It's just easier, makes it a little bit easier to interact. Y'all doing a good job, YouTube. Good job. Okay. I'll wait for a second. What you got? You got questions? Listen. Free answers to nonprofit questions. You've got nonprofit questions. I have nonprofit answers. I'm gonna tell you, I promise. I promise. All right. So I'll go ahead and just quickly, hop on and tell y'all, listen. Nowadays, not even just with a nonprofit, but personally, you have to have multiple streams of income coming into the household to make ends meet. That's just how inflation has done us. You have to have more than one thing going just in case something goes wrong with one thing. You can still live and you can still survive and you can still provide. Same thing with a nonprofit organization. Having just foundation grants or one stream of income coming into your organization or even contracts. I have a lot of clients that they have contracts with the state. They've never really had to do too much outside of reporting, just okay, these are the numbers of young people we work with every year, making sure you're staying compliant, and that's about it. And doesn't really entail too much or involve too much personal interaction or rapport building. And, as soon as that contract ends or something shifts, with the state or with, the feds or with whatever funder, and they lose that funding, it could be devastating. So, no matter how large or how small your nonprofit organization is, I hope that you are diversifying or have different streams of funds coming in to your organization so that you're good. And a lot of times I talk to you all about people, the individuals, because they're so important to what we call your donors are so important to your organization because if anything else goes wrong, if you lose a funding or a contract, individual donors, they make up 76% of the funds that come into nonprofit organizations come from individuals. So y'all hear me a lot of times when I talk about fundraising, I start from that lens, starts with your board members. You have to have a strong board or an effective efficient board. Everybody, we have issues with our board at some point in time. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's part of the journey. It's part of the rite of passage. I don't care how big or how small your organization is. You probably have issues or have had issues with your board. There is no perfect board, but there are things that you can do to engage them ahead of time to make sure that they are they stay engaged, and that they are connecting you to different resources to help your organization, and they understand what their role is. So everything I say start with your board, because it's their responsibility to not only help govern your organization, but also to help raise the funds for it. So you go to them as you start to build out your individual base. Who do they know? How can you get them involved in your organization, whether it's by volunteering or whether it's donating? Because individuals make up businesses, individuals make up agencies and organizations. So when we're talking about, I want to go get a grant from this foundation over here, guess what? Individuals work there and they are human and they have connections and they know people, and there's a certain way that you engage them. So you have board members who are connected, and hopefully you put thought into the types of board members you have, and it's diverse. You have a diverse board. Then you go to them and say, well, who do you know in this organization? I'm thinking about reaching out about a grant. Do we know anyone, or do we know anyone who knows anyone? Because a warm introduction will get you a meeting much faster than if you're just reaching out to someone blindly and they don't know who you are. So that's why I say spend some time working on tapping into your personal networks, the networks of your board members, because those people are connected to companies. They work for companies. They have employee giving programs at some of those companies. So if whatever they give, their company might match it. Their company might have a foundation that cares about what you care about or what your organization cares about. So then you make that connection, and someone who they know vouches for you. And so you get some FaceTime and you come in and you start building a rapport. And then people like you, they're like, oh, I like him. I like her. I like them. I like that organization. Okay. So that is when you start to build up that relationship. And then you're inside. That's when you talk about your corporate foundations. You talk about your traditional foundations, but you get there through individuals, right? It's all about the relationship. So I just want to make that clear to you all. When you're diversifying your nonprofit's income, start with the people who your board knows, and be strategic around who do we know where, and how can we get connected? What is our goal? You got to have a budget. If you don't have no budget and you talking about you want to raise money, I'm looking at you just like this. Okay, you want to raise money, but you don't know how much you want to raise. Come on now. You want to be a millionaire, but you don't know how you want to spend that money. Okay, we don't want to be that way, and y'all know I'm gonna tell you the truth. Hashtag nonprofit no filter, because I want to see you successful. That's where it comes from. I'm gonna be real with you, because I want you to win, and I'm gonna be honest. So if you're going to be going after money and you want to raise money, there's some things you got to check first. You got to be, have in place first. Because if somebody were to say, oh yes, I love what you're doing, here's $100,000, and you have nothing in place as far as how you're going to spend it, the smart way to spend it, you don't have any processes in place on how you keep track of that money, how, like, the programs that you're going to put into place, you don't know then that means you need to take a step back and work on some things first. But let's say you have all that in place. You have all that. Start with your individuals. Now, subcontracts. So there's some of you that have been around for a long time and you have built up rapport in the community. You have data, you have evidence of the work that you do, and people they know that whatever you do works, right? And they have confidence in you, and you have a track record, right? Um, then you might be wanting to apply for federal funds. And so maybe subcontracting may not necessarily be it. You might be able to hold up a federal, or be the point person, or the main organization that is given a federal grant. That's wonderful. You also know that with federal grant comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of reporting. You might have to hire somebody to make sure that they help keep you compliant to that federal grant. And that's okay, because if you're at that level and you've written that into your proposal and you've had success at the federal level before, you already know about all that. So that's one But for those who don't, who may, you're looking in the future and say, well, what are some things that I could be thinking about? Okay, once you get the footing in the community and you have your track record and you've raised some funds and you've got funders vouching for you, then down the line you will, applying for a federal grant on your own, on the strength of your own organization, will be something that you should consider if it fits in line with, what you want to do. A lot of people, a lot of organizations, I didn't quite understand it until I got a federal grant of my own, that why some organizations really didn't want federal funds, because of the sometimes the responsibilities and the disconnect between the money that with the reporting is the work on the ground. The gap can be so large that if you spend more time doing paperwork than you do actually the work. But there's lots of organizations that get federal funds and they plan for that. So don't even worry about that. But let's say you're not quite there at the federal level where you're ready, or even because those are extremely competitive. We're talking about nationally, talking about hundreds of organizations applying for the same grant with limited funds. So, it's highly competitive. But let's say know where the stream of or the flow of money goes in your state. How does it work? If depending on the field that you're in, the feds typically will determine how money is given to the states. And then the states will determine how money is given to different state organizations. And then those state organizations will determine which nonprofits or which private or, private public organizations that they're going to contract out with to get ultimately the work done that the feds want to get done, right? And so there's a lot of layers, and not to discourage you, but know where the money flows in your area, because then if you know what state agency is responsible for dispersing funds, then you can then explore a possibility or a potential partnership with them, or just be on the lookout for when they put out requests for proposals, because typically at that sort of level you don't just go to the agency and say, let's develop a partnership. I mean, you can go to the meetings and the committee meetings and all that type of stuff, but typically they will request a proposal from you or from the community, and then you have to apply. But that can even be considered a subcontract, right? You're getting a grant from them to do work that they're responsible for, but they're subcontracting out to you to get the work done. It could also look like another nonprofit organization that got a large grant, and maybe you do something that they don't do, or that they don't do well, or there's a gap, and you can present it where here's a win-win. You've gotten this money and you're required to deliver this specific outcome. I can help you do that. So then that's a subcontract. Again, you have a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, of how the money is going to be spent and the services that you're going to provide, and how much that's going to cost your organization, and then that's your subcontracts, and you invoice them to do the work because they have the funding. So you've got your federal grants, or your that you've got that, your subcontracts, your corporate foundation grants. Make sure that when a lot that's a huge untapped resource, are the corporate foundations or the corporations, the businesses, because they want to give back. Their employees want to give back, but for some reason with nonprofits, we like to all fight over the same money. We want to go to the well-known foundations all the time and fight, and oh, I want that money. No, I want that money. No, I'm gonna do it better than you. And then, so we like to do that, and I don't know why. I don't like to do it. Diversify. Find out who on your board knows someone who works at a company, excuse me, that may have a foundation that cares about what you do, or that's if you're helping, if you have an environmental focus and you have a corporation or corporate foundation that has a environmental, that's what they care about. Okay, we'll reach out to their community outreach person or their corporate responsibility person and have a conversation about, okay, this is what my nonprofit does and this is what your corporate foundation says they care about. I think there's some alignment there. Is, what would that look like? So reach out to them in that way, But also, again, start with your board members, start with people who might already know someone that works within these companies, because again, a warm introduction is better than you trying to reach out and say, oh, well, I don't know you, you don't know me, but hey, let's go on a date. Okay, it don't work that way. Typically, I mean, you gotta know something about somebody first. So don't sleep on the corporate foundations or the corporations, because again, with some of these businesses, they have to give, or they look to give a certain amount of their money away to nonprofit organizations, especially towards the end of the year. And the reporting process is not as stringent as it would be if you were applying for a foundation grant, and what they expect. They want an annual report. They may want a quarterly report. They want reports on your outcomes. They want to know, which is understandable because they're giving you their money. They want to make sure it's being used the way that they intended to be used. I get that. But as part of diversifying, make sure that you spread this stuff out, right? Corporations, they don't require as much as a foundation would. And for them, the benefits are a little bit different. They get to put their name out there in the community. It says, "Well, look what I'm doing with this nonprofit organization. Look how we changing the community, one nonprofit at a time, right?" They feel good about that. That's good. Let them feel good about that. So, they have that. They have their marketing budget. So it's different and it's easier. Not saying it's easy. I'm just saying, in comparison to the foundation grants, the traditional foundation grants, the once you get in the door, right? And again, another way to get into the door with these corporate foundations is that they like to volunteer. Their employees, most of these large corporations, there's not like a touchy-feely thing to it. You come in, you do your job, you go home. Okay. You make sure this paperwork is done. And this is, I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but it's different. It's not like I'm gonna come and we're going to we're gonna save the whales at work. No, you come into work, you got products and services to deliver. It's a different world in a corporate environment, in corporate America. So these employees, to keep their employees, the employee morale up, corporations like to partner with nonprofit organizations, because then the employees there get to feel like they're still, yeah, they're making their money. Yeah, they're in corporate America, but they're also making a difference. So if you have an event where you need volunteers for, a great way to engage a corporation is to say, yes, we are. Because in a lot of their online applications, when you're applying for funding, they will ask, is there a volunteer opportunity for our employees? Absolutely. And make sure that there is an opportunity for them to get involved that way, because that's relationship building. They're building up a rapport with your organization. They want to come see you first and see if it's a good fit, sometimes before even granting you funds. So yeah, ultimately you may want some money from the organization, but if you don't really know them and they don't really know you, maybe the first step is to invite them to an event to volunteer. Or if you're having a conference or something like that where you're providing information, have them come, and maybe their employees have an opportunity to present at your conference or lead a session or something like that. So that way they can, again, meet your team, see what you're doing, get a good feel for it. They're giving back, they're using their expertise. And then when they have the grant cycle come up and you say, hey, okay, well, now y'all came and y'all saw, okay, you came and you saw and you helped, and now we need some money. So it's more of a natural progression. All right. And even through partnerships. So we got that. So sometimes it's not even about money. I'm telling y'all, sometimes the partnerships that I've and the collaborations I've developed with other organizations over the years have been better than gold, has been better than money, because either we've bartered in a situation where, excuse me, where I provided a service, or my organizations have provided a service for them. In exchange, they provided a service for me. Or when we first needed office space, and they gave us, they just moved into a new office. One of our partners had just moved into a new office, had two empty offices, or they were in a suite, and they allowed us to be there rent free in exchange for us delivering trainings to their young people. So it was a win-win situation. Or you come together and you go after a grant together. And funders like to see that. They like collaborations and people trying to, instead of people trying to pull their hair out all the time, come here, I'm gonna get the money. You're gonna get the money. No, I'm gonna get the money. I'm gonna get the money. I'm gonna get. They hate to see the fighting like that. So if there's an organization in your community where you compliment each other, and come together and say, you know what, let's have an agreement where we're going to work together on this grant, and we're going to have a memorandum of understanding, and we're going to come together and we're going to apply for it. So that is another way that you can bring in revenue into your organization, and it helps to increase your success rate of getting some of these grants if you're partnering, right? So let's go back over it. Let's let's go back over it. We've got corporate funding with these businesses. Don't sleep. Do not sleep on them. Reach out and find out how you can start developing some relationships with these corporations. Traditional foundations, make sure you have, again, you try to build up the rapport the best way you can with the grant managers. Initially, you don't ask for money. You go see what it's, be authentic about it. I'm not telling you guys to be fake and phony. That's something I don't know how to do. So, but you go in and you genuinely try to find out if there's alignment, if there's something that you can provide them. Because the thing is you have to shift your mindset as a nonprofit visionary, as a nonprofit or executive. My nose, I don't know, I got allergies or something, but as a nonprofit executive, you have something that they need. They have the money, but they don't have the wherewithal or the ability to deliver the services. So govern yourself accordingly. Wear your crown, straight and high. Hold your head high when you go into these meetings to meet with some of these directors at these foundations, because you are helping them. You are helping them to create an impact in the community. The moment I understood that as a nonprofit exec is the moment I shifted and was able to connect in a different way and exude confidence in a different way, that they gained confidence in me and I was able to get the grants, right? Because I'm doing you a favor. There was a time when I would, I'd call a grant manager, like, I'm so sorry. Don't mean to bother you, but I just had a question. And one of them were like, this is my job. I'm supposed to answer your questions. I'm like, oh, what? Okay, that's real cool. So understand that you are helping these foundations to make a difference in the community. So go with your head high. And when you contact them and you want to meet with them or you want to talk to them, that's what they're there for. That's their job, right? So we've got the traditional funders, we've got the corporations, we've got the traditional funders, you've got the subcontracts. So if you are providing a piece of work that another nonprofit is getting the money for and you're partnering with them, that works too. That's a stream of income. Your partnerships, your in kind sort of partnerships with these other nonprofits, maybe that's not money, in your hand or in your bank account, but it could be money that you save, or still positioning you to get more money down the line in a different way. So you've got that. Then fee for service. It's the last one that I'll talk about. Fee for service. So look at what you offer, what your organization does. Is there an opportunity for you to offer a training or develop a curriculum? I was just over on my Facebook page talking about a curriculum. So if you want to know about that, then you got to hop on over there and look at that recorded video. I might put it on here. I don't know. I might, I love y'all, so I will. Um, but think of what can you package? What do you do well with your population that other people either don't have the support, the money, or the staff, or the knowledge to be able to do, that you can say, yeah, I do well with this, training with this life skills, or I'm doing this with this population, and I can come and do this for you, but it's going to cost you. And then you determine what your rates are going to be. Be reasonable about it. How much time are you going to need to put into it? How are you packaging it? If you have multiple sessions that you offer, that's what I did with my organization. We had about 4 or 5 sessions and trainings that we offered, that we would charge maybe $200-300, because it was 90 minutes a piece, that we would charge the agencies. And sometimes they'd buy just one, want us to come and do just one session, and sometimes they'd have us come and do all 5. It really depends. And then there might be some that'll say, well, you know what, I have a special population, and maybe one of the sessions that you have, you might need to tweak it a little bit or create a session. That's good too. Customize a training for them. That's fine. But think through that. What can I offer? Nowadays people are also doing stuff like the t-shirts, small things where people can purchase a t-shirt from you, and the majority of it goes to the organization. Or you might have a book or a journal or something that you've put together with your organization, and you're selling it and you get the proceeds from that. So those types of things add up. Now, I will say, disclaimer, be careful that the fee for service does not overshadow your public income, because then you can start playing with your IRS, your tax status. Right? The reason why you have the 501(c)(3) and you're a public charity is because the majority of your funds should be coming from the public. If you start to bring in most of your funding through business-like activities, it might be a problem. So again, spread it out. Make sure you keep an eye on what streams are coming in and how much is coming in for what, but piecing it all together, that is what sustainability is. Now, I'm not just going to be on here telling y'all about grant writing and that's it, and go get you a grant writer. Okay, go find you a grant. Because it's not about that. It's a whole lot more. It's a whole lot bigger than just grant writing. And you got this. You can do this. Don't get discouraged about it. You do it every day. We do it for other people. We advertise. We promote other people's stuff all the time. You already do it. It's just about how. Let's be deliberate about doing that for your own stuff. Let's be smart about, okay, well, let's take a step back and see how successful people or organizations are able to sustain what they do. All right, let me take some notes. Let me look at what I've already been doing, and be smart about it and be deliberate about it. Because a lot of times, with us being nonprofit visionaries, if you're a founder, too, it's like, okay, this is a passion of mine. I'm just hopping in here. I didn't go to school for nonprofit development. I didn't go to school for curriculum development. These are things that I learned within the school of hard knocks when I decided I wanted to hop out there and start my own organization. I didn't go to school for these things. You don't have to go to school for these things, but because of that, we don't know what we don't know. We just think we're going to hop up in here and handle a nonprofit the way we handle everything else. And I'm here to tell you, you have to be a little bit more strategic. Okay, and we have to be a little bit more deliberate about how we handle our business, and educate ourselves so that we stay around, because there's so many nonprofit organizations that start every year that do not go anywhere. They're not successful. Why? Because we're focused on starting the paperwork. All we get the paperwork done, now what? Oh, I gotta talk to people. I gotta organize a tribe. I gotta trust people to help me with stuff. That's a whole nother thing, right? But you got this. We've got this. So um I was talking for a minute. Y'all have any questions or anything for me? I've got a couple folks on here. I know I gotta keep coming on here so that y'all will know that I'm here, so we can have a dialogue. 'Cause I wanna leave these lives up to you all. I want you to set the topic. So when I hop on here, I want you to be like, "Oh, Shalita, um, I have a question about this." Doesn't have to be about what I'm talking about. So if you have a question about something else, I'll be quiet for a second and keep scratching my nose, because I don't know what in the world. It's crazy. I don't know. The lights. I don't have allergies, but y'all have any questions for me? Where are you right now with your organization? Why are you watching? There's something you was hoping I would talk about? Something you really want to know about? How am I supposed to? How do you do it? Oh, I guess it'll. Ooh, okay. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and blah, blah. Okay, great. Yeah. Sean Carter, are you still there? Hey, haha, you love it. You love it. I love it. You love it. You like it. I love it. Okay. Anybody? Y'all have any? I see a couple of y'all looking now. Hold up. I see you looking. You have a question for me? Come on. Okay, maybe not. And maybe later on you'll think about it, right? So if you have any questions, of course, put them in the comments, and I'll answer them. I try my best to be as responsive. I'm doing better with that. So if you have any questions or something you thought about afterwards, just let me know, and know that I will be here every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern to hear from you all about what do you want to talk about, and I'm here to give you the answers, whatever answers that you need. Also, make sure you hop over to my nonprofit Visionaries Academy, the Facebook group. I will put a link for you to be able to go and do that as well, so that you could be a part of that community, and we, share articles and resources and links and stuff like that too. If you want one-on-one support, I'm a nonprofit coach. This is what I do. Okay. Let me know. We could do one-on-one coaching. I do have a promotion right now, so typically, my coaching rates are $100 an hour, but I'm doing 5 hours for 350. I'll put a link for that too, because I know what it's like to be starting up a nonprofit organization and you truly needing expertise and needing support, but not having the funds, because a lot of times you're coming out of your own pocket for this. So, I'm all about return on investment. So if you and I work together, trust me, you will get a return on your investment tenfold, because I'm about results. All right, we're gonna have fun, but we're gonna get results. Okay. Let me make sure. Oh, and my pleasure. TD Star. I'm so glad you found the information helpful. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So as you think through things, if you have questions, if you want to talk to me offline, then that's fine too. But that's what I'm here for, because I want to see us win. You said you still need to find time to complete all the paperwork, but the plan is to start the nonprofit to support caregivers with respite care. Awesome. So if you need help with the paperwork, I can help you with that too. Help walk you through that. I have templates for everything. So I'll put a link for, if you want to have an initial call, we can, hop on a call and see what it is you're trying to do. And again, make sure that you have the plan for after the paperwork, because you can file the paperwork, but then after that is done, how are you going to implement, or what are some next steps that you should do? And I can help you think through that. Okay? Don't be scared. I'm here to help. Okay? All right. Okay, y'all. Well, I will see you back here again next week, Thursday, 1 p.m.